Good evening, everyone. It's a beautiful day. Great to see you today, and also great to conclude this book today that we have started quite a while ago. While we were looking at uh, Awaken the Leadership in You, which we started about 6 weeks ago, and more than 6 weeks actually. It's just that what should have taken us about 2 weeks has now taken us more than it's almost even 8 weeks. When we consider 2 weeks interruption through praying and fasting that we have had to observe in July and in August, which was last week. So today we are finishing this book called Power Thinking, written by John Mangere and Kathy Block. Now, the whole idea of the book is that to help you to change the way you think, so that can help you to also change the way you lead. It is very, very important, highly important that you understand that your thinking processes have a bearing on your leadership quotient, have a bearing on your ability to lead, because you cannot lead a people to where you have not been to in your thinking. So very few people are formally taught on how to think. There is a formal way of thinking, how your thinking can greatly affect the way the output of your life. So most managers, leaders, parents, bosses, whatever, anybody ahead of you, try and get by on the patterns and habits of thinking which were acquired by chance in childhood. So, a better approach is to analyze and then systematically improve how you actually think. So, power thinking is the science and art of becoming better at thinking. Power thinkers are highly adept and competent in three major thinking domains, which we have been looking at. We've been looking at the domain of reasoning, that is the ability to think before acting. And there are internal processes associated with that, and there are also external processes associated with that. We have looked at the first two domains of reasoning and insight. And insight is harnessing instincts to develop superior ideas. So we have also looked at that domain and see the three internal processes associated with insight and the four external processes, which basically just mean for outputs that emanate for three internal processes. And we were now looking at the self-knowledge domain, the domain of self-knowledge, which is a blend of experience, strategy, and insight. So power thinkers use that same combination to create organizational and personal success. The whole ethos, the whole drive of this awaken the leadership in you is to be able for you to produce, is for you to be able to have a personal success. And your personal success is you becoming who you are supposed to be, and that will attract other things, money into your life. You don't go after money, you increase your values first. It is your values that you bring to the market and that people exchange, and the means of that exchange is money. So if you don't have values that you bring to the marketplace, if you don't have values that, and values come through personal development, And personal development hinges on your thinking capacity, hinges on your ability to think out a solution in the face of problems, ability to not to be held at ransom by problems, but ability to become creative and innovative, to be able, due to knowledge, due to understanding and insight you have, and that will then get you out. And you see, the moment you prefer solutions to problems, people will be willing to want to buy into your solution. It means you have created a value, and that value is what people pay for. So, money is not just something that you pursue if you don't know how to create values. You've got to know how to create values. It's the creation of values that eventually leads to the exchange of money. Money is a medium of exchange. Now, when you are creating values in yourself, it is not something that is seen, it is something that is experienced. People have to experience the value you bring to them. They got to have to embrace and see that that value is adds to them. When it adds to them, people will be willing to have to want to pay you in order for you to be able to uh, in order for you to be able to to have success. I mean, for you to have money, so to say, because everybody thinks about money, but money is just a commodity that is only a legal tender, a means, a medium of exchange. So it's important that understanding this power thinking that we have been looking at for some time, that this is to help you by understanding these three domains: the domain of reasoning, the domain of insight, and the domain of self knowledge. Now, in the domain of self knowledge, which we are going to be rounding off tonight, that clearly define attitudes and beliefs that you need to take on board. This is what this domain of self knowledge is talking about. So, by improving the quality of your thinking habits in each of these domains, you can become better at making decisions. Listen, decisions, 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 decisions. The quality of your decision determines the quality of your life, or the quality of the values that you are bringing to the marketplace. So, it is important for you to realize that this quality of decision making, which lead to solving problems and acting creatively, it will enhance the efficiency of your thinking skills and will help you become a better manager and business leader. Listen, we are all selling. We are all marketers. We are all selling something or the other. It's just that the quality of our product is different from one another. You as an incorporated person, incorporated you. Yes, you have something that you are giving to others. You have values that you are giving. So you sell yourself. In actual fact, all interactions and negotiations rest upon the premise of selling. What is selling? Exchanging. Exchanging of ideas or exchanging of values. Or using a medium to do that. So you have something about your life, your gifts, your abilities, your bents, your experiences, your skills, your competencies. These are the things you bring to the table. And you see, the more you can increase their quality, the better life becomes for you. Listen, it's all about relationship. So the quality of your life, especially as you understand the underpinning essence of relationship, and you know how to relate well to people, you've got something wonderful to give to others. Because if you communicate value to people, people will always gravitate towards you, wanting you to be of blessing to them. Amen. So, quite simply, enhancing the efficiency of your thinking skills will help you become a better manager and business leader. Remember, when we talk about business, it's not only just because you have goods that you are selling out. There are goods and services and products. You give services every day. In your talking, communication skills are services. If you know how to communicate well to people and communicate values to people, that's a commodity you have that you are selling to others. In your workplace, in the marketplace, even at home among your family members. Learning to know how to speak well, communicate well, not only just speak well in your intonation and also in uh, your body language. Go, all these things go a long way to show you are a person of value. So, the foundation of a sustainable competitive advantage for you is this your thinking thing, power thinking, both for you personally and for organizations or companies that are representing yourself or the companies you provide. Every system, there is a person behind every system. It is the system that makes things work. So, you, as a creator of a system, valuable system in your life, the more you are changing in your thinking, the better outcome, product, services, and goods that you give in exchange into the lives of people. So, without much ado, uh, we've looked at in the domain of reasoning, we looked at four internal processes, which I'm just going to run over quickly, give us a brief summary of all the things we have looked at. Because from next Friday, we are moving on to another book. That's going to be so. All what we're going to focus on for a long while is about our thinking patterns, reorienting our thinking, because you cannot have a better result in life if your thinking remains the same. It is foolhardy to think that you'll have a better result if you keep doing the same thing. So it is not the final outlook that you pursue. No, no, no. It's like some people. Some people pursue happiness in life and it will keep eluding them because they will never get it. You know why? Happiness is a byproduct of focusing on what you should do. Happiness is not just an esoteric good or object somewhere there that you can grasp. No. If you do the right thing, you will be happy. Why? You'll be happy with yourself because when we talk about happy, it's an inner joy that is the issue actually. If you cannot be satisfied with yourself, there is nobody who can make you to be satisfied. And being satisfied with yourself comes from your inner fulfillment. So that's where happiness stems from. That's where happiness comes from. So it is important that you understand all these things and don't be deluded by the cliches around. Oh, I'm not happy. What are you doing? Your happiness is not in the hand of anybody. It's in your own hand. You are the great determiner of how happy you want to be in life. It's not in anybody's hand. It's not even in the hand of God. It's in your own hand. Because God had already given you all things that pertain to life and God is through the knowledge. So the more knowledge you gather about your life's goal, your life's dream, your life's destiny, and you pursue, the more success you are going on the way to becoming, the happier you become. And nobody can take that away from you. So we looked at the reason of domain, which is located in our conscious mind. This is where our mind reaches decisions and solves problems after a considerable amount of thought. You know, in the university nowadays, I remember while I was trying to apply for a postgraduate, and some universities were talking about the fact that in their universities and in their department, and especially in the research areas, of their postgraduate degree, that they have thought leaders. So you know who those thought leaders are? These are the opinion makers, the game changers within the industry in the area of the research that I was looking into. So, but the idea of the fact that they were using the phrase thought leaders make me to think that there are those within their faculty that they were talking about, that they are the way which their thinking is changing the game in that industry. I said, wow. So what stops me to become a thought leader as well? If only I can raise my game, I can raise the level of my game. That is, if only I can develop myself more than where I am presently. So, in the areas of reasoning, this is what the area in the domain of reasoning. This is where our mind reaches decisions and solves problems after a considerable amount of thought. You've looked at the pros and cons of the issue at hand. You are able to come up with a creative solution to help to advance the cause for which you have subscribed to. So, power thinkers are highly skilled at employing exceptional levels of reasoning. If they are able to employ exceptional levels of reasoning, it means they are playing on a higher, they are playing on a higher terrain, whereby their mind has been so much renewed, their mind has been so much challenged, their mind has been so much developed that they are able to offer solution at the snap of fingers. So the use for internal processes to generate high quality thoughts and then take for external actions as a consequence of their decisions. So the internal processes in the domain of reasonings, they become fair-minded arbitrator, they are unconstricted thinker, auspicious completer, judicious analyst. What you need to focus on is just arbitrating, thinking, completing, analysis. These are internal processes, but this lead to them becoming a bold pioneer. So they are not afraid to initiate a new trend. They are not afraid to start a new way of solving issues. They are provocative communicator. Also, they are resolute questioner, that is questioning the way things are done with the hope of bringing in a new way to do things. So they are also plan implementer. So they don't only just analyze and become paralyzed with it. They analyze with the aim of putting forth action. Amen. So the second domain, which we have been looking at, is the domain of insight. In the domain of insight, insight is your ability to know and act without having to first think consciously. So this is the second domain of the power thinkers. Power thinkers are noteworthy for the amount of insight they bring to a task. They use 3 internal and 4 external processes to inject insight into everything they accomplish. So those 3 internal processes they are already decided. They do not uh, they do not gallivanting. They don't gallivant. In other words, they are not undecided. They are not indecisive. They are not. They don't sit on the fence. They make decision easily because they are able to weigh things easily. And after weighing things, because some people can weigh things for God knows how long, and then take time to also, even when the decision is apparent, take time before they actually also make decisions. So they are distressless performer. They are also spirited producer. So in their internal interactions is what I'm talking about here. But this lead to 4 external processes which manifest in intrepid committer. What is intrepid? It's adventurous, just like bold pioneer. They are intrepid committer. That is, they are bold to be committed. So they are also punctual generator, they are peaceful winner, they are electric creator. Now, the last domain which we have started also have four internal processes. That domain is the domain of self-knowledge. The one I just completed was the domain of insight. Now, in the domain of self-knowledge, there we looked at four internal processes which these power thinkers, of which you can become one. They are valid viewer, they are receptive realist, they do not hype things, they don't hype things, they are realist, and yet they are able to also beyond realism, they are able to take a step of faith. They are also successful failure. They do not shy away from failing because they know that success is nothing but failure upon failure, but without giving up. So they learn from their failures. Much more, they learn from the failures of others in order for them to progress in life. So these internal processes are associated with the area of self-knowledge, with the domain of self-knowledge. So the question you will want to also ask yourself is that how do I view things? Now, there are some people that the way they view things is pessimistic naturally. But you know what? It's an attitude of the heart that can be changed. They can be naturally fearful of any new thing that they want assurance upon assurance before they can start something. They want to be giving 100% assurance, but they don't know that, you see, life itself, there's no assurance in life. They want a security that is guaranteed, double guaranteed. There's no guarantee. The only person that can guarantee anything in life to you is God. But guess what? He's not going to come down and embrace you and hug you. Rather, he gives you his word and he encourages you to hold on to his word. But the skeptics, the pessimists, will not, the words are not enough for them. They've got to have to see before they believe it. Not only that, they've got to have to say, they've got to have to see that all risks have been mitigated. But there is no way in risk assessment that total risk can be mitigated. No, it's impossible. The world of sin that we live in does not guarantee that. In actual fact, if there is any time anything wants to reach a level of perfection, guess what? Sin will set in, imperfection will set in, and will reduce the likelihood of perfection because of sin in the world. So, in the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to focus on the external processes of self knowledge, which are just becoming a principled colonel, becoming a flexible doer. Don't be too rigid that you cannot be moved, that your opinions don't change if you see better light. Inventive finisher, and they are reliable finisher, reliable concluder. So, how does that go? It goes by, let's first of all see that the self knowledge domain that we have been looking at in the past, in the last class of self knowledge, of Awaken the Leadership in You. Now, the domains that we have looked at, this domain that we have looked at, the concluding part of this is where these four internal processes manifest, show that in the area of self-knowledge, if you have self-dialogue along being a valid viewer, receptive realist, confident keystone, and successful failure, it should produce the fact that you have a view that is valid. So what that means is that you know what you are, what to do well, and what you do less completely. In other words, you know yourself adequately. You know your strength and you know your weaknesses. You know how to protect your weaknesses and how to maximize your strength. Because this is what valued viewers do. They know what they do well and what they do less competently. So they know the areas to strengthen in their lives. They know the areas in which they have been failing so as to improve, but they know they don't focus on their failings because you see, that cannot be totally eliminated. That is the areas of their weakness, it can be reduced, but cannot be totally eliminated. When you get to heaven, if you're a child of God, if you're a believer, you will not need to be thinking of your failings, you will not need to be thinking of your weaknesses anymore. So know what to know and what to do well and know what to do less qualifies you as a valid viewer. That is, you have the right esteem and the right thinking, right image of yourself. And due to the fact that they correctly assess their own abilities, these individuals are often eager to develop plans which will compensate for their areas of weakness. So you see, the area of protecting a weakness is to be able to create a mitigation against those weaknesses so it does not become a drawback to their strength. So power thinkers harness their self-esteem and are realists. They know they are realists. They know, look, I'm not that good in that area. Let's give it to other person. Oh, my wife is good in that area. Let my wife handle it. It's not the area of my strength. Let me focus on the area of my strength and let me do the area of my strength. However, to become more of a valid viewer, you need to identify your core values and beliefs. You see, talking about these core values talks about the inner orientation from which emerge your motivation for your action, the very motivation for your action. These are the elements which motivate you and engage your passions. You got to know your passions. You see, your passions are energy, energy, emotions, your passions. This is what you think and excite you. Anything that engages your thinking faculty, but with it also have a feeling attached to it, is your passion. You do well, you love, and all of us have one passion or the other individually. So you got to know, you as a valid viewer, you got to know what your passions are, identify core values, that is, what are the whole essence of your life? What are you willing to live for? Or what are you willing to die for? What are the things you cannot compromise? What are the things that defines you? The things that define you are not necessarily what you produce, but what is behind what you produce. Because if you get money, you say, well, being rich is my aim in life. But that is an ephemeral thing that beyond that, you got to have to be able to define yourself. Because richness could just be classified as the accumulation of success stories. But beyond your success stories, beyond the toys that which you want to define yourself, who are you really? It's your relationship that define you. And what are the common building blocks of relationship? They are values, honesty, integrity, uh, not being deceptive, not, so many. Yes, being there, being loyal. All these are values that must identify and show you. Being able to want to help others, willingness to help others, not hiding things from people that you know can be of blessing to them. So analyze also to become more of a valid viewer, you got to be able to analyze your level of self-esteem. Remember, I said to us in one of the broadcasts that what you think is your self-image. What you feel is your self-esteem. They are interlinked. So what you feel about yourself is directly a product of what you think about yourself. So if you want to analyze your level of your self-esteem, it means you got to have, first of all, analyze the level of your self-image. What do I think? Who am I? I think, I feel, I will. Yes, I do all these three because they are in the domain of my soul. I think, I will, I feel. So, which defines me? What what defines those areas? So, you got to therefore keep building it over time by keeping score whenever you achieve your goals. Your goals. Goals have a way of reinforcing uh, who you really are by trying to see what your pursuit, because goals have to be attained, and goals are defined by about 5 parameters because they are specific, measurable, they are attainable, they are realistic, and they have a time frame by which they can be achieved. So becoming a valid viewer also means you must need you there is need for you to know how to eliminate your self-imposed limitations by rephrasing your self-talk so it is positive and inspiring rather than negative or limiting. Don't stop saying I can't, I can't, I can't. Say I can. Yes, I can. I'm not saying borrowing Barack Obama's phrases now, but it's the reality of life. You how many times you will never see people who talk down on themselves ever achieve anything good in life. Rather, they will be blaming others for their state. So, guess what? And you are the architect of your own life. You are the architect. God gives you the blueprint, and He makes you to draw. He wants you to follow it and finish the building of the blueprint. What you probably didn't know was before you came to earth, you agree with God. There's an agreement with God that this is what you're going to do. So the blueprint is then stamped on your spirit, man. So it becomes your motivating factor. It becomes the passion. With that blueprint also comes peculiar gifts that will help you to fulfill that. But we get here on earth and we start comparison. We start comparing one to another. We are beaten by the ball comparisonitis. And the moment we are beaten by the ball comparison, we lose our wisdom. We become foolish. Because the scripture says, they that compare themselves with one another, they are not wise, they are foolish. And guess what? Each one of us is beautiful for our creation. Only if you can find what to say or what to do that limits yourself, what to think of, self-talk. When you are by yourself, what do you say to yourself? Do you say, this thing is going to kill me? It will definitely kill you. Do you say, oh, I'm sinking? You will definitely sink. You are the writer. You are the writer of the ticket of your own life. So you got to have to know on how to eliminate, even if you can't see it. But you ask God to help you to be able to see clearly so that your world can match your perception. Listen, these two eyes are not what we need the most. It's those two inner eyes that we need the most. And those two inner eyes are the ones that should define our talk, not what we see with these two physical eyes. Because the reality is not defined only by the physical. In actual fact, reality is defined by the intangible. Hebrews 11:3 says, by faith we understand that the word of God was not made by the things which do appear. We understand that the world was not designed, framed by the things which do appear. Framed, designed. So you can frame your own world by your word. So this is one of the ways to eliminate self-imposed limitations by rephrasing your self-talk so it is positive and inspiring rather than negative or limiting. Focus on the positive actions you can take, not your own personal doubts. Not your own personal. Nurture your sense of self by reminding yourself the failures of yesterday don't necessarily get projected into the future. Instead, you have the power to change for the better. You see, this is one thing that we have, the power to change. Choice. Choice. Nobody can take that away from you. The power to choose. Even God can only advise you by saying to you, choose ye this day what you want to do, whom you shall serve, me or the God on the other side of the mountain. So your choice, the accumulation of your choice eventually leads to the manifestation of your destiny. So you need to nurture that sense of yourself to be able to know how to choose right at every point in time. Choosing right as opposed to choosing wrong or following the Joneses. So receptive realists. Realists understand and acknowledge this is the second external process emanating from the self-knowledge domain. So realists understand and acknowledge they may not have all the answers, so they keep an open mind. Receptiveness means being open to new ideas and other alternatives. Do you know right under our nose our world is changing, but some people still can't get it? Do you know our world is going through a transition at the moment, but some people still can't see it? Some people still want to play the game with the old rules and they don't apply anymore. So the question is, what is changing? What do I need to do? Because you also got to change with what is changing by keeping an open mind and not just say the way we've always been doing it is the way we're going to be doing it. No, things are changing. You see, the whole economy is no longer defined by the traditional way anymore. It is a new economy entirely. Guess those who are making success of this economy. There are those who have adjusted their thinking to embrace the new economy platform. And what is the new economy platform? Is this platform that I'm sharing with you, digital platform. So, and guess what? Money is also changing to reflect the new economy. What you have now, you have Bitcoin, you have cryptocurrencies. All these are digital things. They are not things you hold with your hand, but guess what? They transition to be cash. So some people are still thinking, oh, I got to go to work 9 to 5. Listen. The times of playing are changing, and you got to have to change with it. You're going to have to keep asking questions. Thank God there is a leveler, and internet has become a leveler for everybody. It's not like the whole traditional economy whereby you're going to have a lot of capital before you can start a business. No, not anymore. Not like if you are diligent, if you know, if you can search, if you can burn the midnight oil, if you can do research, guess what? You can create something for yourself that people are willing to buy, because the majority of the world today is moving to another platform to create wealth for business transactions. That's the digital platform. So the Church of Jesus, you and I, and anyone who may be listening to me today, we do not have to what? We do not have to allow ourselves to become dinosaurs. Dinosaurs die with the old time. They could not transition to the new time. That's why they become obsolete and die off. Don't die off. Don't die off. Be relevant for your time. Ask questions. Ask questions. Be what, as I have said to us, resolute questioner, wanting to find out what is happening to our world. Our world is changing. Our world is changing. So, power thinkers usually have a firm set of beliefs that guide their actions, but their self-knowledge allows them to think things through and access new ideas and be receptive to integrating those ideas into their actions. Please, if you have been shying away from internet usage, please embrace it. Get to know, get to know of all these platforms, get to know of all these social media platforms, get to know about the languages. You see, new economy creates new languages. Get to talk digitally. Get to talk about all the things that are relevant for the new world that we are living in. See how everybody is compelled to have to go to internet. All services have to go. And guess what? Those who have established themselves prior to this pandemic thing, they are the one who reap the highest benefit. Those who have moved their business to the digital platform. So what about you? See us, the churches catching up late, and yet they are there for our benefit. Things are not going to remain the same anymore. No, they're not going to remain the same for any one of us. So to become more like a receptive realist, what do? Welcome challenges to your heart. Don't run away from challenges. Embrace challenges. You won't die with those challenges, but inspect the challenges. See how the challenges can affect you positively and what's your response as opposed to reacting to it, shielding yourself away from those challenges. If you shield yourself away from challenges, you will not develop. You will not develop. You will not develop. You will not be able to maximize your potentials because challenges are what? Are opportunities disguising as problems. Yeah, opportunities disguised, but it now depends on your attitude to them. If you have a negative attitude to challenges, then you what? You ward off challenges. You don't want to embrace challenges, but challenges are part of life. So every solution within it is also hidden another challenge. Challenges are part of life on this side of heaven. In actual fact, that's the way we move forward on earth because somebody is going to come with a creative solution to overcome those challenges. And guess what? That's a creation of value. Everybody will rush to him to buy that solution from him. So welcome challenges to your beliefs and respect the thoughts and ideas others can contribute. Work on the basis that your beliefs must be robust enough to be challenged on a regular basis. Otherwise, they are not good for much. So don't say, I don't change my mind. Let people give you perspectives that your own blind spots have covered. And when they speak, if you embrace it, you will begin to discover it enriches you. Amen. So be willing to let your personal beliefs evolve as new evidence and facts come to your attention. But if you don't read, you will know what others are thinking. Thinking is not, books are nothing but a compilation of thoughts, an organized thought. So challenge yourself to read. Set yourself a target of reading on a weekly basis. Apart from you joining us during this awaken the leadership in you, because this is for mental empowerment. This is what we'll be looking at every week, every Friday, 7 to 8, to see how we can be mentally stimulated to help us to redefine our playing field. So have a high degree of self-confidence, that is, have an open mind and the courage to enter new ideas, even those that are radical departure from what you believed in the past. Like, can you imagine if you are still using typewriter now? You will be left behind. We use typewriter now. Even with small babies would rather have iPad and be playing or tablet playing with them. But there are some of us that are still shying away from using laptop, using phone, using all these. No, we gotta have to wake up and we can learn. So periodically also evaluate your belief system by analyzing the performance of your beliefs in challenging situations. By recognizing the performance of your beliefs in challenge, if your convictions don't feel right or become unreasonable, you should be willing to update your conviction and reassess your beliefs. Also, Becoming a receptive realist means you understand how your belief system will influence your success or failure as a leader, particularly in the way you interact with your those that are under you, your subordinates. Whether these people are required to adopt your belief system or choose their own can likewise have a far-reaching impact on your organization. Now, I'll tell you something that happened to me just this week. One of our children here in our church here, Kingdom Arena, a very young guy, 16-year-old. I told him, give me a proposal on how you are going to manage the studio that we want to open for you. When he wrote his proposal, I had to write back to him to say, who wrote it for you? I said, Pastor, nobody wrote it for me. 16-year-old, and you are thinking like this. I said, whatever it takes to help you to develop, we will provide by the grace of God. It's amazing what I saw. A 16-year-old. Is it the grammatical grammatical rightness of his wordings, the wordings of his sentences, man, and the presentation? I was impressed. I had to ask him, who wrote these things for you? Your thinking is beyond your age. Who did you speak to write this? The pastor, I didn't speak to anybody. I discussed with my mate on how we're going to manage the opportunity you have given unto us. And this is what we came up with. I said, I submit to you. All what we are going to do is just give you oversight. I give these things over to you to manage because you have a great potential. You're thinking now. I wanted to think that I'm older than I'm like his father. Therefore, I see the way he's talking so confidently, reflecting in his proposal. I said, what? This is good. This is a leader for tomorrow in the making. So, Pastor, the motive is not money. All I want to do is to be able to help other people. I said, wow, I am just so proud of you. Very proud of you. I'm gonna walk with you. I'm gonna walk with you for you to become your best. So that was at first a challenge to my thinking. Say, you made this guy is this good? Until I asked him questions, fiery questions, and confidently, assertively replied me back. Said, no, Pastor, this is for this, this is for this, this is for this, this is for this. I was impressed. So this is so there's a self-knowledge. The guy is operating from the domain of self-knowledge and he's not intimidated. And I love the fact that he's confident. He's clear-cut on what he wants to do and where he's going. All I need to do is to protect him and protect his interest as well as the interest of the church and show him blind spots so that he can guide those blind spots as well, which I've done. So also, the third internal process that you need to know within the self-knowledge domain based on the 4 internal processes is the confident keystone. The keystone is the one piece that serves as a support for the other piece. Serves as a support for the other piece in an arch. So for these people, self-confidence serves a comparable function in that it underpins everything they attempt to do and achieve. Power thinkers who are confident keystones welcome new challenges because they know they can do them. They draw from internal positive reinforcement and often come up with novel ways to work smarter rather than harder. To gain additional proficiency as a confident keystone, you need to, no, I think I've done this. I've covered this one already. Yeah. I've covered this under the domain. Yeah. Oh, it's flexible doer that I should be actually. Yeah, covering. Yeah. Wow. Well, that's reiterating it. I guess that blesses you anyway. Flexible doer. Flexible doer gets things done regardless of whether they or someone else is spearheading the effort. They don't need to be the boss to feel appreciated and valued. Rather, flexible doers value the unique contribution each person can make. Put differently, for flexible doers, organization success is more important than their ego. Power thinkers are similarly motivated by achievement, not public recognition. To become more of a flexible doer, I mean, identify the good intentions of other people and build their sense of belonging. This is focusing on others now. You can do this sometimes by developing a new organizational ritual or company ritual which celebrate the person's contribution, recognizing other people's contribution. This in turn builds positive interactions and encourages the person to become more devoted to the organization. All employees, including you, enjoy working in an environment where they feel that what they do genuinely makes a difference and is valued. So build a strong support group. I'm just going to highlight those points without necessarily developing them more. Becoming more of a flexible, I mean, identify the good intentions of other people, build a strong support group, exercise a little give and take on a regular basis, so you don't think everything revolves around you. No. Also, that's that. Now, path thinkers are highly skilled also in the fact that they are inventive finisher. An inventive finisher gets the job done in imaginative ways. When unexpected events crop up, this individual take the initiative and come up with a different strategy than that originally proposed. Power thinkers are tenacious, ingenious, willing to take risks, and willing to ask for assistance from those with talent in more relevant areas. To become more like an inventive finisher, you need to persevere. Learn to persevere, keep working even when a solution is not immediately apparent. Inventive finishers do their homework rather than relying on luck or external intervention. This takes resilience and mental strength. When inventive finishers are thrown into a difficult situation, they feel a great desire to succeed. You need to do likewise. To become more like an inventive finisher, you need to identify your most valuable resources. MVR, the talent, the thinking processes, people and other resources which can be accessed by you as needed. In other words, you need to know the strength of your team. There must always be a team. You are working in a team. Listen, you are incorporated you. And there are those who surround you, they make up the board of your directors. Check them out. See what resources are embedded. See what resources are hidden in them that can help you to advance. If you can't see clearly, if you don't know, it means you are not going anywhere. You are just all sitting at the same level. If you want to move further, you got to have to what? You got to have you have to have better role models that you can aspire, that their company will influence you to want to do better. So persevere means getting to do, having a growing desire to succeed. I mean, persevering and identify your most valuable resources, meaning you got to know how to read people, you got to know how to assess people, you got to know how to evaluate people, you got to know how to categorize people, so you know which one had more to you and which one are you also adding more to, that are not draining on you. You got to be able to know who are the drainers in your life. Who are the drainers? Those that are draining you, who are they? And those who are pouring into you, who are they? Mutual benefit involved in this. Once you have a better picture of your resources, you can then start to come up with some combinations to move forward. Know who to call when the going gets tough is one of the best way to manage your life's advantages, opportunities, and privileges. You have a board of directors around you. I am looking into a course at the moment, and they asked me to name the 10 influencers around you. and then what's their asset, what's their liabilities, and what's their income. By the time I finish it, I say, God, no wonder I am where I am. I need to move forward. I need to change the board of directors around me. I need to look for those who are better players than I am so that I can rise up. Because you see, the word anthropos that defines a man from Greek means a man who looks up, a man who looks up to others. So we cannot but have to look up. It's when we look up that we get inspired and try to want to be where those whom we look up to are. So this means you become a principled colonel, increase your enthusiasm for your work, fine-tune your personal values, identify some historical figures you admire, and think about precisely why you admire them. Keep adding to your pool of role models, people who exemplify the values you hold in greatest esteem. Look for opportunities to make unique contributions to people around you and to your organization. Have sufficient self-esteem that you treat everyone nicely. Lastly, in the next 3-4 minutes, reliable concluder, reliable finisher. Reliable concluder do things precisely on purposes. On purpose, I beg your pardon. Every action they take is carefully thought out, well executed, and deliberately followed through on. For reliable concluders, time is very important. They appreciate time more than they appreciate money because they know time is convertible. They are rarely, if ever, late. Similarly, reliable concluders keep their promises. Power thinkers can be relied on to follow through on what they say, and as such are worthy of being trusted completely. To become more of a reliable concluder, fulfill completely any and all promises you make to others. This is speaking to me and speaking to my life greatly. If you can't make a promise, if you can't fulfill it, don't promise. I've got to have to pay the debt of all promises, because that's what creates integrity in one's life. Fulfill completely any and all promises you make to others. Solve problems by looking for patterns. Meaning, whenever you are faced with a problem, look for a success strategy in the following areas: from your own information and ideas, from the strategies you used in the past, from the information provided by others, from the strategies others have used previously, by weighing the relative merits of several alternatives, by evaluating best practices used elsewhere. So, John Mangeri and Cathy Block concluded. They say, in our initial research, we studied 346 individuals who are highly efficient in thinking, skill, ability, and use. In addition, the organization that they led had high levels of performance. They were characterized by being the top performing unit in the organization, and competitors emulated their practices. Since our initial study, our efforts have greatly expanded relative to the number of such individuals whom we have both identified and helped to develop. In the past decade, we have worked with over 20,000 people in business, government, healthcare, education, and non-profit organizations. We found that these individuals, despite working in different professions and having diverse experiences and educational backgrounds, were remarkably similar in that their exceptional level of skill in each dimension of thinking was quite evident to their subordinates. We noted too their anticipation of change. Lastly, the way forward. You see all these things that I have enumerated for those 6 Fridays we have looked at this. To become a power thinker, you need to put all together and put yourself through a 6-week development program. During this time period, you should focus on both acquiring new thinking strategies and improving your existing thought habits. I have come to the end of today's Awaken the Leadership in You. I pray you have enjoyed today. I pray you have been challenged. I pray you have been mentally stimulated. I pray it's been a blessing to you. Listen, this is life. Life is about Life is progression, no retrogression. The time you've lost today, you can never get it back tomorrow. So I encourage you, keep developing yourself, keep adding to yourself. You will reap the good of yourself later. It's an investment. It pays. You can never receive more than who you are. Develop yourself and you will attract greater things to your life. Thank you for joining me tonight. Next week, see you again during the Awaken Leadership. I will come up with another book that we'll start looking at. God bless you. Join me on Sunday service as well, 11 a.m. to 12:15 p.m. 12:15 p.m. Thank you very much. God bless you.